Aloha, I'm Carolyn Tanaka and welcome to Live at the Legislature. Every week we sit down with members of the House of Representatives to talk about issues, concerns, and legislation moving through the state capitol. This morning I'm joined by Maui Representative Justin Woodson. Good morning, Representative.
Aloha.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Representative Woodson is the chair of the Education Committee, and he represents the Kahului community on Maui. Let's talk about a program that you were very instrumental in passing last year, called the Hawaii Promise Program. And this year, I understand that we are now expanding on that program. Can you take us through that, Bill, please?
Sure. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. So the Hawaii Promise Program, in essence, is Hawaii's version of free college. What it says is if you are an in-state resident and you qualify for any type of financial aid, then you also qualify for the Hawaii Promise Program. So what that means is, let's say that you qualify for $200 in terms of your financial aid, and your balance is $800, be it for books, be it for tuition, be it even for transportation. Then the state, in fact, picks up the rest of that cost. So the state would absorb that $800 cost, which would make your schooling, in essence, free. It's a very important program. This goes for individuals not only trying to get their four-year degree, but individuals that are trying to get their degree in dental hygienist degree, whether they're trying to be a mechanic, whether they're even trying to do something like get their certification in cybersecurity. We want to invest in our people, and this is one way we can do so. So the four-year plan is actually geared towards if you want to apply the Hawaii Promise to the four-year institutions of higher learning, like University of Hawaii Manoa, University of Hawaii Maui College, University of Hawaii Hilo, then the Hawaii Promise Program would apply for that full schooling.
And specifically, how would that apply for the four-year schools?
So it would work in the same way that it works right now for the community colleges, and it would just apply to all 4 years or 6 years if it takes of your schooling.
Okay, well, I know it's been a very successful program and very highly thought of, so we will be anxiously looking forward to what the legislature does with the expansion program.
Thank you. Team
this
effort.
Year. Team effort,
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
Talking about, you are the chair of the Education Commission, and I know one of your priorities is suicide prevention. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So suicide is a tragic situation. Per capita, Maui County has a higher number of individuals that commit suicide. And not just for our youth, but to our larger population, we need to better address the issue. And for me, it really hit home, I would say, a couple months ago, when there was a young man who was in high school who had dropped out. He decided to take his life. So he did so in an area that was close to Kahului Elementary School and Maui High School. So it was not only a tragedy for himself, his friends, and his family, it was a tragedy for those kids because a lot of the kids actually saw the body as it was lying there close to the property. So this is something that we really need to focus more on. We have a bill to help provide additional support for suicide prevention. It works through the Department of Human Services and Health. And what it will do is through Department of Health, funnel the funding to the individuals that are currently working on the issues of suicide prevention. So just on a personal note, the individual that took his life, one of my friends was responsible for engaging and helping this person. His workload was stretched so far that he was unable to get back to this individual before he had taken his life. He took his life. So he feels personally responsible, but it is not in no way, shape, or form his failure. It is all of our failures. It's a collective failure. So we want to prevent that from happening in the future.
What is that bill number?
I don't know off the top of my head. I would say HB 2507, but it's moving in the legislature this year.
Okay. Well, talking about suicide prevention, bullying, and on campus, obviously right now, because of the horrible mass shootings in Parkland, Florida, security on our schools again is something that we are talking about, whether or not our kids are safe when we send them to school. There is a bill moving through the legislature that calls for increased security on our campuses. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that?
So I think that's a very good proposal. That is my understanding, a Senate bill. We will be considering it on the House side. I think it's a good bill. And as the chairman of the Education Committee, I will support the proposal. As I understand it, what the bill does is it makes it so that there is added security locks on our classrooms, all of our classrooms, enhanced intercom systems, which I think goes to making sure that we communicate properly with the kids. Of course, I think that's going to require also for the schools to potentially do active shooter exercises. I know some of the schools already do. It might not be a bad idea for all the schools to participate in some of that type of training, and anything that we can do always to make our kids safer, we should most certainly take advantage of that.
Now, this happens all the time. I mean, there have been more than just a bunch just this year of shootings on our school campuses. There is a bill that is going to be heard tomorrow by the House that bans something that they call bump stocks on assault rifles to prevent them from turning into machine guns. But every year we talk about this. Do you think that this time we will actually do something here in the Hawaii State Legislature?
Sure. So this is one of those issues that is highly charged emotionally, but I think that we can most certainly do things that are commonsensical. This is one thing that we can do that I think makes a lot of sense. In no way, shape, or form do you need that type of firepower in our current community. So it makes sense to go ahead and ban those types of enhanced equipments as it relates to firearms.
Okay, well, good. As I say, you also are the representative from Maui, and we have about 56 seconds. Don't mean to rush you, but I do know that one of the things you want to talk about is the homeless situation on the island of Maui. Can you kind of briefly run us through that, please?
Sure. So for the island of Maui, the homeless issue is something that is becoming increasingly more prevalent. So we want to work with the communities to make sure that we provide additional supports for that particular population. Specifically, we're working with KHAKO, Kahale Akaola, and it's a homeless center that helps address that particular population. They have been successful in that they are able to transition people out of homelessness in about a year and a half, which is a very successful rate. We want to continue to support them and work with the rest of the community to do so.
Well, I'm sure there's so much more to talk about, and we will have you back on. Thank you, Representative Woodson.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Aloha.